Cancer. There is a particular kind of person who walks into a room differently than other people. You have probably noticed this before, in passing, perhaps without articulating it to yourself. Some people enter spaces and the spaces stay essentially the same. Other people enter spaces and the spaces reorganize themselves slightly to accommodate the new presence, not because the person demanded the reorganization, just because of something about the quality of their being, the density of who they are, the way their attention is concentrated. The reading I am bringing you today is about someone of the second kind who is approaching your life. Not approaching in the metaphorical sense, approaching in the actual sense with timing that is closer than you would predict if I asked you to guess. I want to walk you through who this person is, what their arrival is going to mean for you, and most importantly, what is happening inside you that has made their arrival possible at this particular moment rather than at any other. Before I describe them, I want to address the title of this reading, which begins with an apology, and I want to gently set that apology aside. There is nothing to apologize for. The arrival of someone of significant standing into your life is not a complication. It is not a disruption that requires a preemptive smoothing. It is simply a development, a meaningful one, a development that you are entirely capable of receiving, processing, and integrating, regardless of how the framing of the title might initially suggest otherwise. So let us proceed without that frame. What is approaching you is good. The good has its own texture. The texture includes some surprises. The surprises do not require an apology. They require attention, presence, and a willingness to engage with what is actually happening rather than with whatever you may have imagined would happen. Now let me tell you about this person in pieces, the way I am being shown them rather than all at once. The first thing I am sensing about them is that they have built something. I do not yet know exactly what. It might be a body of work, it might be a position, it might be a reputation that precedes them in particular circles. Whatever they have built, it has required years of focused effort, and the building has shaped them. People who have built things over long stretches of time develop a certain quality. They are not impressed easily because they have seen what it takes to actually make something. But when they are impressed, the impression is durable. They do not extend their attention casually. When they extend it, they mean it. Their attention is going to be directed at you in a way that may surprise you, because people of this caliber do not typically direct their attention casually, and you may not yet think of yourself as the kind of person who would be on the receiving end of such directed attention. The second thing I am sensing is that they are not arriving alone. I do not mean that they bring others physically. I mean that their presence in your life carries with it access to a network that you do not currently have access to. Without dramatizing this, the network around them is significant. It is the kind of network that people typically gain access to only through relationships of mutual respect with those who already inhabit it. Their interest in you is going to function, among other things, as a form of introduction. People in their circles are going to begin noticing you because they notice you. The downstream effects of this are going to ripple through aspects of your life you may not have anticipated. You will see things shift in domains that initially seem unrelated to this single relationship. The relationship is the keyhole. The reorganization is what happens when the key turns. The third thing I am sensing is that they have been thinking about you or about someone like you for longer than they have been aware of. There is a kind of gradual orientation that happens in certain people, a slow turning of their attention in a particular direction without their fully understanding why they have been turning toward you. The turning has been happening quietly over a stretch of time. Now, in the present moment, the orientation is reaching the point where it will produce direct contact. They will become aware of you in a way that crosses from background to foreground. That crossing is the threshold I am sensing. It has not happened yet fully, but it is close. Within the period that this reading is meant to address, the crossing will occur. Once it occurs, the dynamic will move quickly. I want to address something important before I continue. The arrival of a person of this stature into your life is not happening because you are insufficient and they are completing you. This is a framing I want to actively dismantle because I sense that some part of you may be drifting toward it. The dynamic between you and this person is going to be a meeting between two complete people, not a rescue of a smaller person by a larger one. They are bringing what they have built. You are bringing what you have built. What you have built may not look the same in surface terms, but in the terms that actually matter, the substance, the integrity, the depth, you are coming into this meeting as their equal. This is critical for you to internalize before they arrive. The meeting will go better, will be more productive, will be more sustainable if you enter it from a position of fundamental equality rather than from a position of being elevated by their attention. The reason I am emphasizing this is that there is a common pattern in dynamics involving someone of higher external visibility. The person of lesser visibility sometimes positions themselves as the recipient of something that they could not have generated themselves. And this positioning, while it may feel humble, actually destabilizes the relationship from the start. People of significant standing are usually accustomed to being approached this way, and they often find it tedious, even when they understand why others adopt the posture. What they find more interesting and what they tend to want more of in their lives is encounters with people who do not adopt the posture, encounters with people who can meet them at the level of their substance rather than at the level of their reputation. You can be one of those people. You already are one of those people, whether or not you have realized it yet. Stand in that position when they arrive. Do not collapse into the smaller posture. This is Cancer Tarot, and what I am bringing through for you in this reading is something that requires you to update your sense of who you are in advance of the encounter so that you can meet what is coming from the right inner stance. The update is not artificial. It is not a performance. It is a recognition of what is already true about you, but has not always been visible to you. You have been operating in some respects with a self-image that is calibrated to earlier circumstances. The earlier circumstances no longer fully apply. Your current substance exceeds your current self-image, and the encounter that is approaching is going to reveal the gap. I want to give you the chance to close the gap before the encounter so that you are not thrown by it during. Let me tell you specifically what your substance contains, because the listing matters, and I think you have not always given yourself credit for the items on this list. You have a quality of perception that is rarer than you assume. You see patterns in situations that other people do not see. You read people accurately, often in moments when those people are trying not to be read. You hold information about how things work, how relationships actually function beneath their stated surfaces, how organizations and groups and dynamics actually operate when no one is watching. This is not a small thing. People of high standing often look for exactly this quality in the people they bring into their inner circles because they cannot afford to surround themselves with people who only see surfaces. They need people who see depths. You see depths. This is one of the qualities that is going to draw the person we are discussing toward you. You also have a quality of self-possession that, while imperfect, is more developed than you give yourself credit for. You have a center. You return to that center when you have been knocked away from it. You do not require constant external validation to know who you are. There are moments when external pressure shakes you, but the center holds and you find your way back to it. People in positions of significant visibility are surrounded by people whose centers do not hold, who require them to provide validation, attention, reassurance in ways that are exhausting to maintain. They are starved for relationships with people whose centers hold independently. Your center holds. This will register with them quickly, even in early interactions, and it will create in them a kind of relief that they may not initially be able to name. They will simply notice that being around you is unusually restful. The restfulness is one of the things they will come to value. You have a quality of integrity that is structural rather than performed. You do not advertise your integrity. You simply behave in accordance with it. You do what you say you will do. You handle confidences with care. You hold positions when holding them is inconvenient. People at high levels of standing are constantly assessing the integrity of those around them, because integrity is the load-bearing element of every significant relationship at that level. They develop quick instincts for who has it and who does not. Your integrity is going to register with them quickly. They will find themselves trusting you in ways they do not always trust people. The trust will accumulate. It will become one of the foundations of whatever relationship develops between you. I want to mention a specific thing I am sensing about how you are going to first encounter this person. The first encounter is not going to be the most important encounter. It is going to be a relatively brief, almost casual moment in which you and they are in the same context for a period of time, and during which something passes between you that neither of you fully registers in the moment. There will be an exchange, a look, a comment, a small interaction. Nothing that announces itself as significant. After the encounter, both of you will remember it more clearly than the surface circumstances would predict. They will think back on it later, perhaps that evening, perhaps a few days afterward, and they will find themselves wondering about you. The wondering is what produces the deliberate second contact. The second contact is the one where the relationship begins to consciously develop. I am not going to give you a calendar. The energy I am picking up is that the first encounter is closer than your conscious mind would currently estimate, and the second contact follows it within a stretch that is not too far behind. You may want to live in the coming period with a slight extra alertness in social situations, not in a strained way. Just an awareness that the context you are moving through may include moments more significant than they appear. Most of those moments will be ordinary. One or several of them will turn out to have contained the encounter we are discussing. You will know in retrospect which one it was. In the moment, you may not. So move through these next stretches with attention and let the recognition come when it is ready to come. I want to spend a moment on the emotional dimension of what is approaching, because I think it is important to differentiate this from a purely transactional or strategic kind of relationship. There is a personal element to what is going to develop between you and this person. They are not interested in you only because of what you might bring to their work or their world or their existing arrangements. They are interested in you because of who you are. The interest is going to have warmth in it. It is going to have curiosity. It is going to have, in its own time, something that feels close to admiration. People in positions of significant standing rarely admire others openly. The admiration tends to be quiet, almost private, expressed through their actions rather than their statements. You are going to be the recipient of admiration that is expressed in this quiet way. You will have to read it because it will not always announce itself. I want to address the question that may be forming for you, which is whether this relationship is going to become romantic. I do not have a definitive answer to give you on that. The energy I am picking up is fluid in this regard. There is a real and substantial connection forming, but the form the connection takes is not yet determined. It could become romantic. It could remain something more like a deep alliance. It could shift between modes over time. What I can tell you is that the connection itself is the more important fact, and that getting overly fixated on which exact form it will take is going to interfere with the natural development of whatever it actually wants to be. Let it be what it is. Receive it in whatever form it presents itself in. The form may surprise you, the substance will not. There is something I want to say about the work you have been doing on yourself, because this work is what has prepared you for this encounter. You may not always have framed it as preparation. You may have framed it as just trying to get through difficult periods, just trying to figure things out, just doing what you needed to do to keep going. But the cumulative effect of that work has been the construction of a self that can hold what is now coming. Without the years of inner development you have done, often in solitude, often without anyone noticing, the encounter we are discussing would not have been possible. People of the standing of the person who is approaching do not extend lasting attention to people who have not done the inner work. They cannot afford to. Their attention is too valuable, their bandwidth too limited, their patience for performances too low. They engage substantively only with substance. You have substance. The substance is what will be encountered. There is a particular thing I want to mention because I think it will help you when the encounter occurs. People of high external visibility live with a certain quality of fatigue around being treated as their position rather than as themselves. They are constantly being approached as the position. People want things from the position. People perform for the position. People say things to the position that they would not say to a person. This is exhausting in ways that those who have not been on that side of the dynamic do not always understand. When such a person is treated as a person simply, without the position being the primary frame, the experience for them is unusually refreshing. You are going to do this naturally. You are not going to perform around their position. You are going to engage with them as a human being. The engagement is going to land for them like cool water in a long drought. This is not a strategy. I do not want you to think of this as a technique. It is simply who you are. You see people. You do not see positions. You see people. This is one of your most distinctive qualities. And it is going to be the quality that, more than any other, opens the door between you and the person we are discussing. They have probably been searching without consciously knowing they were searching for someone who would simply see them. You are going to be that someone without trying. The seeing will happen because seeing is what you do. They will feel seen in a way they have not often felt seen, and the feeling will produce in them a wish to remain in proximity to you. Here on Cancer Tarot, the messages that come through about encounters of this kind sometimes worry me, because I do not want you to misunderstand them as messages about being saved. There is a tendency in the popular framing of this kind of reading to position the high-profile person as a kind of rescuer who arrives and changes everything. I want to gently correct that framing for you because the actual dynamic is more interesting and more sustainable when understood accurately. The person who is approaching is not going to save you. You do not require saving. You are going to enter into a relationship with them as someone who has already done the necessary work, who is already standing on her own ground, who is already living a life that has its own integrity. The relationship is going to add things to your life. The adding is significant, but the foundation underneath you is yours. It was yours before they arrived. It will continue to be yours, regardless of how the relationship develops. This positioning is critical for what unfolds afterward. Relationships that are built on a foundation of one party rescuing the other do not last in stable forms. The dynamic of unequal rescue produces resentments on both sides over time. The rescuer eventually feels burdened. The rescued eventually feels diminished. The relationship erodes. The kind of relationship that lasts, that produces good for both parties, is one in which both stand on their own foundations and choose to share what they have built rather than supplying each other with what neither has independently. You are entering this kind of relationship. You are bringing your foundation. They are bringing theirs. The meeting of foundations is what makes the structure stable. I want to share something I am noticing about how you have been preparing, even unconsciously, for an encounter of this magnitude. You have been refining how you talk about what you do, how you carry yourself in unfamiliar contexts, how you handle moments when others underestimate you. The refining has happened in small increments over many small interactions that you may not have noticed as preparation, but the refining has accumulated. You can now do with relative ease things that would have been difficult for you a few years ago. The encounter we are discussing is going to take place in contexts that require exactly the capacities you have been refining. You will not be over your head. You will be operating within the range of skill you have already developed. This is one of the reasons the timing is right. You are ready. You did not arrange to be ready by this date. You simply did the work, and the work has produced readiness, and the readiness is being met by an encounter that requires it. I want to mention a practical thing about the early stages of this connection once it begins. Move at a measured pace. There will be a temptation, especially given the relative status of the person who is approaching, to accelerate things on your end to keep up with the perceived pace of the unfolding. Resist this temptation. Move at the pace that feels true to you. People of significant standing are accustomed to others trying to keep up with them, and they have learned, through experience, that the relationships that last are the ones with people who do not try to keep up, people who set their own pace, people who can be reached only as fast as they are willing to be reached. Your willingness to set your own pace will be one of the things they value most about engaging with you. Do not surrender it to nervousness or excitement. Hold to your own rhythm. They will adjust. There is a quality of dignity that I want to encourage in you for this period. Not stiffness, not formality, dignity in the older sense of the word. The sense of having a substance that does not require validation in order to exist. The sense of being a person whose worth is internal, structural, not dependent on how you are received in any given interaction. This dignity is going to be one of the most important qualities you bring to this connection. The person approaching is going to encounter many people in their life who lack this dignity. The encounter with someone who has it will be distinctive for them. They will remember you. They will think about you. They will want to spend time with you. The dignity is the magnet. Maintain it. I want to address the period right after the connection begins because that period has its own particular character. There is going to be a phase, perhaps lasting some weeks, in which the dynamic between you is exploratory. You will be getting to know each other. They will be getting to know you. The exploration will involve some testing on both sides, not in a manipulative way, but in the natural way that two substantive people assess each other when they are determining whether to invest more deeply. During this phase, be honest. Be clear about who you are. Do not present versions of yourself that you cannot sustain. The relationships that last are the ones in which the early honesty was complete enough that nothing surprising emerges later. Surprises in the foundation tend to crack the structure built on top of it. Honesty in the foundation produces structures that endure. I want to share something I am picking up about the future shape of this connection that I think will help orient you. Whether or not it becomes romantic, this connection is going to become, in some sense, foundational for the next phase of your life, not as a dependency, as a thread. The thread will weave through many things. It will inform decisions you make. It will provide context for opportunities that arise. It will function as a kind of stabilizing presence, even in periods when the active interaction with this person is sparse. Some of the most important relationships in our lives function this way. They are not always front and center, but their existence shapes the topography of everything else. This is going to be one of those relationships for you. You will look back years from now and recognize that the entire next chapter of your life had this thread running through it. I want to acknowledge that an encounter of this kind can produce a kind of disorientation in the recipient, and I want to give you advance permission for the disorientation. You may have moments in the early stages of this connection when you wonder whether it is real, whether you are imagining the significance, whether you are misreading the signals. These moments are normal. They are the natural response of a nervous system encountering something it has not encountered before. Do not interpret the disorientation as evidence that something is wrong. It is just the system updating. The update will complete. You will arrive on the other side of it at a more accurate sense of the dynamic. In the meantime, be patient with yourself. The unfamiliar takes time to become familiar. There is something I want to say about your own response to feeling chosen by someone of this standing, because I think it could become a complicated emotional terrain if not addressed. There may be a part of you that wonders whether you deserve this, whether the universe has, in some sense, made an error, whether you are about to be discovered as a fraud. These thoughts, if they arise, are not evidence about your actual worth. They are the residue of older self-concepts that are being challenged by the new reality. You do deserve this. The universe has not made an error. You are not going to be discovered as a fraud because you are not a fraud. You are exactly who you appear to be, and what you appear to be is sufficient to merit this encounter. Sit with the deserving when the doubts arise. Argue with the doubts if you have to. The deserving is the truth. The doubts are the static. Here on Cancer Tarot, as I bring this transmission toward its closing, I want to leave you with a few practical orientations. First, stay yourself. The temptation in proximity to someone of high standing is to become slightly more performed, slightly more careful, slightly less yourself. Resist this. The reason they are coming to you is who you are when you are not performed. Do not subtract that from the encounter. Bring the unperformed version. They will recognize it. They will value it. Second, remember your own work. The work you have done, the things you have built, the qualities you have developed. These are not invalidated by their arrival. They are part of what made the arrival possible. Hold them, honor them. Do not let the gravitational pull of someone else's prominence displace the sense of your own substance. Your substance is what is being met. Do not minimize it. Third, take your time. There is no rule that says you must respond to anything immediately. There is no rule that says you must accept every offer. You are allowed to think. You are allowed to assess. You are allowed to say no to things, including things that come from this person, if those things do not fit your sense of who you are and where you are going. The relationship will be sturdier for your willingness to use the word no when no is the correct word. People of high standing know how to handle that word. They expect it from people they respect. They are suspicious of people who never use it. Fourth, enjoy what is enjoyable. There is going to be much in this experience that is genuinely lovely. Receive the loveliness. Do not analyze it to death. Let yourself laugh. Let yourself be moved. Let yourself be present in moments that are good. The presence is part of what makes the connection real. The presence is the medium through which the relationship establishes itself. I want to close with an image that came to me as I was bringing this through. You are standing in a place where you have been standing for a while, doing the things you have been doing. The place is yours. You have made it yours through long inhabitation. In the distance, a figure is approaching. The figure has standing of its own. The figure is moving with purpose. As the figure draws closer, you recognize that the figure is approaching not to disturb your place, but to meet you in it. The meeting is going to happen in your place, on the ground you have made yours. This is significant. They are coming to where you are. They are not asking you to come to them. The coming to you is itself a sign of how the dynamic will unfold. They are entering your terrain. They are entering with respect. They are entering as a guest, even though their standing might suggest otherwise. Receive them as a host. Be gracious. Be yourself. The terrain is yours. They are honored to be there. You are not the smaller party in this encounter. You are not the one being elevated by association. You are a substantial person being met by another substantial person, and the meeting is taking place in your house. Stand tall in your own house. Speak clearly. Listen well. Trust your discernment. Whatever develops on terms that you have a real role in setting. This is the position from which the rest of the unfolding will produce its best results. Hold this position. Do not surrender it to the gravitational pull of another person's reputation. The reputation matters less than the substance. The substance is what you are meeting. You are ready. The arrival is approaching. The terms of the meeting are favorable. Move forward into the next stretch of your life with your attention attuned, your dignity intact, and your trust in your own readiness fully present. What is coming is good. You are equipped to receive it. The receiving will be one of the most rewarding experiences you have lived through. Let it land. Let it teach you. And let yourself finally be the kind of person to whom encounters of this magnitude happen. You have always been that person. The world is now catching up to what you have been all along. The figure is approaching. The terrain is ready. Stand in your own ground. The meeting will be everything it needs to be, and more, because the readiness on your side is real. Receive what is coming. It is yours.